The knock came at midnight. Jessica's hands shook as she locked the door behind her. Sir, they're coming to kill you. Tomorrow morning. Poison in your breakfast. Nathaniel laughed nervously. Kill me? That's insane. Your brother. Your partner. Your lawyer. Everyone. Her voice cracked. I heard them planning it. Counting your money. Laughing about how easy it would be. She grabbed his sleeve, desperate. Sir, pretend you're dead. It's the only way you survive. Nathaniel stared at the small vial in her trembling hand. One sip would stop his heart. But refusing might stop it forever. Hello friends, welcome to our story. Before we start, please like this video, share and subscribe. Also tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Is it United States, London, maybe Canada, Jamaica, Barbados, or anywhere? We want to know. The mansion stood silent under the black sky. Inside, Nathaniel Gray sat in his leather chair, a glass of expensive scotch in his hand. The golden liquid caught the lamplight as he swirled it slowly. He was tired. So very tired. Then came the knock. Not a gentle tap. Not a polite request for attention. This was desperate. Urgent. The kind of knock that makes your heart stop. Come in, Nathaniel called out, setting down his glass. The door flew open. Jessica stumbled inside, her face white as paper. Her hands were shaking. Her eyes were red, like she had been crying for hours. Jessica? What's wrong? Nathaniel stood up, concern flooding through him. She closed the door behind her and locked it. Her fingers fumbled with the bolt. When she turned back to face him, tears were streaming down her cheeks. Sir, please, she whispered. Please listen to me. I don't have much time to explain. Nathaniel felt a cold fear creep up his spine. Jessica had worked for him for 5 years. She was always calm, always professional. He had never seen her like this. What happened? Are you hurt? Did someone? They're going to kill you, sir. The words hung in the air like poison gas. Nathaniel blinked. What? Twice. Then he laughed, but it sounded wrong even to his own ears. Kill me? Jessica, that's crazy. Who would want to? Everyone, sir. Everyone. She stepped closer, her voice dropping to barely a whisper. I heard them tonight. In the East Wing. They thought I was in my room, but I came back to get my phone. I heard everything. Nathaniel's smile faded. Heard what? Who was talking? Your brother, Daniel. Your business partner, Robert. Your lawyer, Miss Stevens. Even your driver, Thomas. Jessica's voice cracked. They've been planning this for months, sir. Months. They have documents ready. Fake medical reports. They've already bribed someone at the hospital. They're going to make it look like an accident or a heart attack. The room seemed to tilt. Nathaniel grabbed the edge of his desk to steady himself. No, that's impossible. Daniel is my brother. Robert and I built the company together. They wouldn't. Sir, I heard them counting the money. Your money. They already divided everything. The mansion, the company, your bank accounts, everything. They were laughing, sir. Laughing about how easy it would be. Nathaniel felt like he couldn't breathe. When are they planning to? Tomorrow morning. They're putting something in your breakfast. Something that will stop your heart slowly. The doctor they bribed will sign the death certificate. Natural causes. No investigation. No questions. Nathaniel sank back into his chair. His hands were trembling now too. 5 years ago, his wife had died in a car accident. Since then, he had thrown himself into his work, into building his empire. He had trusted these people. Fed them. Paid them. Treated them like family. And they were going to murder him. We have to call the police, he said, reaching for his phone. No. Jessica grabbed his wrist. Sir, Miss Stevens is your lawyer. She knows everyone at the police station. She's already prepared documents saying you've been mentally unstable. If you call them now, they'll think you're paranoid. Crazy. They'll take you away, and then Daniel and the others will have legal control of everything. You'll be locked up in some hospital, and they'll finish the job there. Nathaniel stared at her. Then what do I do? Just sit here and wait to die? Jessica's eyes were fierce now, burning with determination. No, sir. You do something they'll never expect. She leaned in close, so close he could hear her heart pounding. Sir, she whispered. Pretend you're dead. Nathaniel jerked back. What? That's insane. It's the only way. Listen to me. Jessica grabbed both his hands. If we fake your death tonight, right now, they'll think their plan worked early. They'll celebrate. They'll reveal everything. They'll confess to each other because they'll think they're safe. And we'll record every single word. But how would we even? I have something. A compound. I got it from a medical student I know. It slows your heartbeat down so much that machines can't detect it. You'll appear dead for about 6 hours. I've tested it. It's safe. But we have to do this now, sir. Before morning comes. Nathaniel stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the city lights twinkled like stars. Somewhere out there, people were living normal lives. Safe lives. Lives where their own family didn't want them dead. If I do this, he said slowly, and something goes wrong, then at least you tried, sir. At least you fought back. Because if you do nothing, you'll be dead by lunch tomorrow. I promise you that. Nathaniel turned to face her. Jessica was just 26 years old. She had a young face, kind eyes. She had always brought him his coffee exactly how he liked it. She had always asked about his day. She was the only person in this entire mansion who had ever really cared. Why, he asked. Why are you helping me? You could just let it happen. Stay quiet. Maybe they'd even pay you to keep silent. Jessica's eyes filled with tears again. Because 3 years ago my little brother got sick. Cancer. The treatment cost $50,000. I didn't have it. No one would help me. But you did, sir. You paid for everything. You saved his life. You told me I didn't have to pay you back. You said family helps family. She wiped her eyes roughly. You treated me like family, sir. So I'm going to save your life too. Even if it kills me. Nathaniel felt something break inside his chest. Not his heart. Something else. Something that had been frozen since his wife died. Okay, he said. Tell me what to do. Jessica's face flooded with relief. First, we need to set up cameras. Hidden ones. In every room where they might talk. I already know where they keep having their meetings. The East Wing study. The garden room. Your brother's bedroom. I have security cameras. They know about those, sir. They've been avoiding them. We need new ones. Tiny ones. I bought them this afternoon. I've been preparing for this since I heard them talking. Nathaniel looked at this young woman with new eyes. You're braver than anyone I've ever known. I'm terrified, sir. But being scared never stopped anyone from doing what's right. For the next hour they worked in silence. Jessica climbed on chairs and tucked tiny cameras behind picture frames, inside air vents, beneath table edges. Nathaniel helped, his mind racing. This was really happening. He was about to fake his own death. The compound, Nathaniel said as Jessica climbed down from the last camera placement. Are you absolutely sure it's safe? Jessica pulled a small vial from her pocket. The liquid inside was clear like water. The medical student I know tested it on rats first, then on himself. It's based on an old technique used by tribes in South America. It mimics death perfectly. Your breathing will be so shallow that even a doctor would think you're gone. Your pulse will drop to almost nothing. Almost nothing isn't nothing, Jessica. What if someone checks closely? They won't, sir. Because I'm going to tell them I found you already dead. I'll scream. I'll cry. I'll be hysterical. Miss Stevens will call her bribed doctor immediately. He'll do a quick check, pronounce you dead, and that will be that. By the time you wake up, we'll have everything we need. Nathaniel took the vial. His hand was steady now. Fear had burned away, leaving only cold determination. How much do I drink? All of it. It doesn't taste like anything. Your heart will start slowing in about 15 minutes. You'll feel dizzy first, then tired. Then you'll fall asleep. When you wake up, 6 hours will have passed. And if I don't wake up? Jessica's voice was fierce. You will, sir. You will. I'll be watching the whole time. If anything goes wrong, I'll call a real ambulance. I promise. Nathaniel looked at the vial one last time. Then he looked at Jessica's determined face. Then he thought about his brother Daniel laughing while planning his murder. He thought about Robert, who he had trusted with millions of dollars. He thought about Miss Stevens, who he had hired straight out of law school. They wanted him dead. So he would die. And then he would destroy them all. Nathaniel raised the vial to his lips and drank. The liquid was tasteless, just like Jessica said. He set down the empty vial and waited. Sit in your chair, sir, Jessica said softly. Make it look natural. Like you were just reading and having a drink. Nathaniel sat. He picked up a book from his desk. Some old novel about betrayal and revenge. How fitting. The first wave of dizziness hit him. The room swayed. Jessica, he said, and his voice sounded far away. Thank you. Don't thank me yet, sir. Thank me when this is over. The second wave was stronger. Nathaniel's eyes felt heavy. So heavy. The book slipped from his fingers and fell to the floor with a soft thump. Jessica, what if they hurt you, when they find out? They won't find out, sir. I promise. Now sleep. Sleep and let me handle everything. The darkness came like a wave. Nathaniel tried to fight it, tried to stay awake, but it was impossible. The last thing he saw was Jessica's face, tears streaming down her cheeks as she watched him slip away. Then nothing. Jessica stood over Nathaniel's body, her heart hammering so hard she thought it might burst. His chest was barely moving. She pressed 2 fingers to his neck. There. A pulse. So faint she almost missed it. But it was there. He was alive. But to everyone else he would be dead. She pulled out her phone. Her hands were shaking so badly she almost dropped it. 3:30 in the morning. In a few hours the morning staff would arrive. The cook. The gardener. The driver. But she couldn't wait that long. The performance had to start now. Jessica walked to the door. She unlocked it. Then she ran down the hallway, her footsteps echoing through the silent mansion. Help! She screamed. Somebody help. Please. Lights flickered on. Doors opened. Daniel appeared first, wearing silk pajamas, his hair messy from sleep. What's all this noise? He demanded. It's 3 in the morning. It's Mr. Gray. Jessica sobbed. He's not moving. I came to bring him his medication and he's just. She collapsed against the wall, crying hysterically. It wasn't hard to fake. The terror was real. Everything depended on this moment. Daniel's face changed. For a split second, Jessica saw something flash across his eyes. Not concern. Not fear. Excitement. Where is he? Daniel asked, already moving toward the study. In there. Please, you have to help him. More people appeared. Robert pulling on a robe. Miss Stevens, her hair in curlers. Thomas the driver, looking confused and half asleep. They all rushed into the study. Nathaniel sat in his chair, head tilted back, eyes closed, book on the floor beside him. His face was pale. His lips were slightly blue. His chest didn't appear to be moving at all. Daniel rushed forward and pressed his fingers to his brother's neck. He waited. And waited. Then he stepped back, his face carefully arranged into an expression of shock. He's gone, Daniel whispered. My brother is dead. Miss Stevens pushed forward. She checked Nathaniel's pulse too. Then his breathing. She even held a small mirror under his nose. Nothing. Call Dr. Williams, she said quietly. Right now. Robert pulled out his phone, but his hands were trembling. Jessica watched him carefully. He was trying not to smile. She could see it. The corners of his mouth kept twitching upward. They were happy. These monsters were happy. 20 minutes later, Dr. Williams arrived. He was a tall man with gray hair and cold eyes. He examined Nathaniel quickly, professionally. He checked pulse, breathing, pupils. He listened to his heart with a stethoscope. Finally, he stood up and removed the stethoscope. I'm very sorry, Dr. Williams said. Mr. Nathaniel Gray is deceased. Time of death, approximately 3:15 a.m. Cause appears to be sudden cardiac arrest. Jessica collapsed into sobs again. Real ones this time. Because even though she knew Nathaniel was alive, hearing those words made her stomach twist with fear. What if something went wrong? What if he never woke up? What if she had just killed the only good man she had ever known? We'll need to move the body, Miss Stevens said quietly. Prepare it for the funeral. No. Jessica cried out. Please let him rest here for a little while. Just a few hours. Please. He loved this room so much. Daniel looked at Miss Stevens. Some silent communication passed between them. Fine, Daniel said. We'll move him at dawn. Jessica, you stay here. Watch over him. We'll start making arrangements. They filed out of the room one by one. Jessica noticed how quickly their sad expressions disappeared once they thought she wasn't looking. Finally, she was alone with Nathaniel again. She locked the door and ran to him. Sir? Sir, can you hear me? Nothing. Jessica checked his pulse again. Still there. Barely. She pulled out her laptop and connected it to the hidden cameras. One by one the screens lit up. East Wing study. Garden room. Daniel's bedroom. Every angle was perfect. Now came the waiting. And the watching. Because somewhere in this mansion the murderers were celebrating. And Jessica was going to record every single word. Jessica sat in the darkness of the study, her eyes fixed on the laptop screen. The blue light made her face look ghostly. On the monitor she could see Daniel's bedroom through the hidden camera. He was pacing. Back and forth. Like a caged animal waiting to be released. Then his phone rang. Jessica leaned closer, turning up the volume on her earphones. It's done, Daniel said into the phone. His voice was cold. Empty. My brother is dead. Jessica couldn't hear the voice on the other end, but she saw Daniel's face twist into a smile. No investigation. Dr. Williams confirmed it was natural causes. Heart attack. The old fool probably drank too much scotch again. Daniel laughed. Actually laughed. Yes, I'll transfer your payment by noon. You did good work. He hung up and immediately dialed another number. Robert? Get everyone together. My office. No. We need to move fast before anyone starts asking questions. Jessica's blood ran cold. They were meeting. Right now. This was it. She glanced at Nathaniel's still body in the chair behind her. Please wake up soon, sir, she whispered. Please. On the screen, people began gathering in Daniel's office. Robert arrived first, wearing an expensive suit despite the early hour. Miss Stevens came next, her face calm and professional. Then came others. People Jessica recognized. The accountant, Mr. Peterson. The head of security, James. Even the cook, Mrs. Johnson, who Jessica had always thought was kind. 7 people in total. 7 traders. Daniel closed the door and locked it. Gentlemen. Ladies. Today is a good day. Daniel walked to a small bar in the corner and poured himself a drink. My brother is finally gone. And everything he built? It's ours now. Are we sure there won't be an investigation? Mr. Peterson asked nervously. I mean, he was healthy yesterday. Rich men don't just die suddenly without someone asking questions. Miss Stevens spoke up, her voice sharp and confident. I've already prepared all the documentation. Nathaniel had been complaining of chest pains for months. There are medical records to prove it. Dr. Williams will testify that he warned Nathaniel to reduce stress and stop drinking. Everything is airtight. But what about the will? Mrs. Johnson asked. Doesn't everything go to charity like he always said? Daniel's smile grew wider. About that. Miss Stevens, would you like to explain? The lawyer pulled out a folder. 3 months ago, Nathaniel signed a new will. Of course, he didn't actually sign it. I did. But the signature is perfect. I've been practicing for years. She spread papers across Daniel's desk. According to this will, Nathaniel leaves 60% of his estate to his beloved brother Daniel, 20% to his trusted business partner Robert, and the remaining 20% is divided among his loyal staff. That's us, James said, grinning. We're the loyal staff. Exactly. The charity gets nothing. And because I'm the lawyer of record, I'm the only one who will file this will with the court. No one will ever see the old one. Jessica's hands clenched into fists. She was recording every word, every confession, every evil smile. What about the maid? Robert suddenly asked. Jessica. She found the body. What if she knows something? Daniel waved his hand dismissively. She's nobody. A poor girl from the bad part of town. She was probably crying real tears because she knows she'll have to find a new job soon. Don't worry about her. We should still get rid of her, James said. Just to be safe. Maybe another accident. Make it look like she was so sad about Nathaniel's death that she... No, Miss Stevens interrupted. Too suspicious. 2 deaths in 1 week? That will definitely trigger an investigation. We leave her alone. Pay her a month's salary and send her away. She'll disappear into whatever hole she crawled out of. They all laughed. The sound made Jessica feel sick. So what's the timeline? Robert asked, pulling out a notebook. The funeral is in 3 days, Daniel said. We'll make it big. Public. Show the whole city how much we love dear Nathaniel. Then 1 week after the funeral, I file the will with the court. 2 weeks after that, the estate is settled and the money starts flowing. What about the company? Mr. Peterson asked. Gray Enterprises is worth $200 million. That's a lot of money to split. We're not splitting it, Daniel said. I'm taking over as CEO. Robert becomes CFO. The rest of you get your percentages, but I run the show. Anyone have a problem with that? Silence. Good. Because if anyone tries to back out now or asks for more or gets greedy... Daniel's voice dropped low and dangerous. Well, accidents happen. Don't they, James? The head of security nodded slowly. Yes, sir. They do. Excellent. Now let's toast. Daniel raised his glass. To my dear brother Nathaniel. May he rest in peace. And may we enjoy the fortune he was too weak to protect. They all raised their glasses. They all drank. They all smiled. Jessica wanted to scream. She wanted to burst into that room and tell them all that Nathaniel was alive, that he heard everything, that they were all going to prison. But she couldn't. Not yet. The trap wasn't fully sprung. She looked at the timer on her laptop. 4 hours had passed since Nathaniel drank the compound. 2 more hours until he woke up. If he woke up, Jessica checked his pulse again. Still faint. Still there. But his skin felt cold. Too cold. "Come on, sir," she whispered. "Stay with me. Just 2 more hours." On the screen, the meeting was breaking up. People were leaving Daniel's office, their faces glowing with greed and excitement. But Robert stayed behind. "Daniel," Robert said quietly, "are you sure this will work? Your brother was smart. What if he suspected something?" "He suspected nothing," Daniel said. Nathaniel was so busy being the perfect businessman, the perfect gentleman, that he never saw what was happening right under his nose. He trusted everyone, and that trust killed him. But what if someone finds out the truth? What if? "Robert." Daniel grabbed his business partner by the shoulders. "Listen to me. We've been planning this for 2 years. 2 years. We've covered every angle. We've bribed everyone who needed bribing. We've forged every document that needed forging. There is no way this fails. None." Robert nodded, but he still looked nervous. "What about Jessica?" "I'm serious, Daniel. She's always around. Always watching. What if she heard something? Then we'll deal with her. But I'm telling you, she's just a maid. Maids don't matter. They're invisible. That's why she was perfect to find the body. No one will question her story because no one cares what she thinks." Jessica felt tears burning her eyes. Invisible. That's what they thought she was. They had no idea that this invisible maid was about to bring their whole world crashing down. Robert finally left. Daniel poured himself another drink and walked to his window. He stared out at the sunrise, watching the sky turn from black to gray to orange. "I win, brother," he said softly to his reflection. "I finally win." Jessica switched cameras. She checked the garden room. Empty. The East Wing study. Empty. Then she saw movement in the Kit Johnson. Mrs. Johnson was there with Thomas the driver. They were whispering. "Do you really think they'll pay us?" Thomas asked. "They have to, Mrs. Johnson said. "We help. We knew what they were planning and we kept quiet. That makes us accomplices. If they don't pay us, we can go to the police." "And say what? That we knew about a murder plan and did nothing? We'd go to prison too." Mrs. Johnson's face hardened. "Then we make sure they pay us. I didn't spend 40 years cooking for rich people just to die poor. This is my chance. Our chance." Thomas nodded slowly. "How much do you think we'll get?" "Daniel promised me 50,000. You?" "Same." They smiled at each other. 2 more traitors, counting their blood money before it even arrived. Jessica felt sick. She had eaten Mrs. Johnson's food. She had chatted with Thomas about the weather. They had seemed like normal people. Kind people. But they were just as evil as the rest. She switched cameras again, checking every room, recording everything. The hidden cameras were working perfectly. Every word, every confession, every greedy smile was being saved to the laptop's hard drive. Evidence. Mountains of evidence. Jessica looked at the clock. 5:30 a.m. 1 more hour. She walked back to Nathaniel and knelt beside his chair. His face was so pale. His lips were blue. He looked like a corpse. "Sir, I know you can't hear me," she whispered. "But I need you to know something. I'm scared. I'm so scared. What if this doesn't work? What if they find out what we're doing? What if they hurt you worse? What if I made a terrible mistake?" Her voice cracked. "But I couldn't let them kill you. You're the only person who ever treated me like I mattered. Like I was human. Everyone else in my life, they either used me or ignored me. But you saw me. You helped my brother when no one else would. You remembered my birthday. You asked about my life." Tears streamed down her face. "So even if this goes wrong, even if we both end up dead, I want you to know that I don't regret it. I'd rather die trying to save you than live knowing I did nothing." She wiped her eyes and checked the laptop again. Suddenly her blood froze. On the screen she saw James the security guard walking toward the study. Toward Nathaniel's study. Toward her. He was carrying something. A large black bag. Jessica's heart hammered. What was in that bag? What was he planning to do? She heard footsteps in the hallway outside. Getting closer. Closer. The doorknob turned. Locked. "Jessica?" James called through the door. "Open up. I need to check on something." Jessica's mind raced. She couldn't let him in. Not yet. Not with Nathaniel still unconscious. Not with the laptop full of evidence sitting open on the desk. I can't," she called back, making her voice sound broken and sad. "I'm sorry. I just need a few more minutes with him. Please." Jessica opened the door. "No. That's an order. Please, James. Just give me a little more time. I'm not ready to say goodbye. There was silence. Then she heard James speaking to someone else. She couldn't make out the words. Then Daniel's voice, loud and clear. Jessica. Open this door immediately or I'll have James break it down. Her hands were shaking. She looked at Nathaniel's still body. At the laptop full of evidence. At the clock showing 30 more minutes until he should wake up. She had no choice. Jessica closed the laptop and shoved it under a stack of books on the shelf. She made sure nothing looked suspicious. Then she walked to the door and unlocked it. Daniel and James pushed inside immediately. What's wrong with you? Daniel demanded. When I give an order, you follow it. Understand? I'm sorry, sir. I needed time to. I don't care what you needed. Daniel's eyes were hard and cold. My brother is dead. We're preparing the body for transport to the funeral home. James needs to take measurements. Jessica's stomach dropped. Transport? No. But I thought. Change of plans. The funeral home called. They can take him early. Better to get it done quickly. Less time for complications. James moved toward Nathaniel's body. He unzipped the black bag, revealing a body bag inside. No. Jessica stepped between them and Nathaniel. Please don't. Not yet. Just a few more hours. Please. Daniel's expression changed. His eyes narrowed. Why are you being so difficult about this, Jessica? I'm not. I cared about him. He was good to me. I want to. You want to what? He's dead. Gone. Whatever you're feeling doesn't change that. Daniel stepped closer to her, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. Unless there's something else going on. Something you're not telling me. Jessica's blood turned to ice. Did he suspect? Did he know? I don't understand what you mean, sir. Don't you? Daniel was studying her face carefully. You seem very protective of a dead man. Very nervous. Why is that? Behind Daniel, James was watching her too. His hand had moved to his belt. Jessica saw the outline of something there. A gun. They would kill her. Right here, right now, if they thought she knew anything. I'm just sad, Jessica said, forcing tears into her eyes. It wasn't hard. The fear made them come naturally. I'm sorry if I'm being difficult. You're right. I should go. Let you handle this. She moved toward the door, but Daniel grabbed her arm. Not so fast. James checked the room. Make sure everything is in order. Check it for what? Jessica asked, trying to keep her voice steady. Anything unusual? Anything out of place? James began walking around the room, looking at everything. The desk. The shelves. The windows. Jessica's heart was beating so hard she thought Daniel might hear it. The laptop. It was right there on the shelf, barely hidden under those books. If James looked closely. Sir, James said. There's nothing here. Just books and papers. Everything looks normal. Daniel finally released Jessica's arm. Fine. Get out. Go to your room and stay there until I call for you. Jessica didn't need to be told twice. She ran from the room, her legs shaking so badly she almost fell. Behind her, she heard Daniel say to James, "Get the body in the bag. We're moving him now. And keep your eyes open. Something about that girl doesn't sit right with me." Jessica reached her tiny room on the 3rd floor and locked the door. She pressed her ear against it, listening for footsteps. They were taking Nathaniel's body, moving it to the funeral home. Away from her. Away from safety. And he still hadn't woken up. She had no laptop now. No way to see the cameras. No way to know what was happening. And worst of all, in 20 minutes, Nathaniel was supposed to wake up. But he wouldn't wake up in the safe darkness of his study with Jessica watching over him. He would wake up in a body bag, being carried by murderers with no idea what was happening. Jessica sank to the floor, her whole body trembling. "What have I done?" she whispered. "What have I done?" Downstairs, she heard voices. Movement. The sound of something heavy being dragged. They were taking him. And there was nothing she could do to stop it. The darkness was absolute. Nathaniel's eyes opened, but he saw nothing. Black. Complete black. And something was pressed against his face. Plastic. Thick plastic. He tried to move his arms. They wouldn't respond. His whole body felt like it was made of lead. Heavy. So heavy. Where was he? What happened? Then the memories came flooding back. Jessica. The compound. The plan to fake his death. He was supposed to wake up in his study. Safe. With Jessica watching over him. But this wasn't his study. He was moving. Being carried. He could feel the swaying motion. Could hear muffled voices outside the plastic. The body bag. He was inside a body bag. Panic exploded through Nathaniel's chest. He tried to scream, but his throat was dry. The sound came out as barely a whisper. He tried to move, to thrash, to fight his way out, but his muscles were still weak from the compound. "Careful with that," a voice said. Daniel's voice. "Don't drop him." "He's heavier than he looks," another voice replied. James. They were carrying him. His own brother and the head of security were carrying him to the funeral home. Nathaniel forced himself to stay still, to stay calm. If they heard him moving, if they realized he was alive. Think. He had to think. His fingers. He could move his fingers now. Slowly he flexed them. Then his toes. The compound was wearing off just like Jessica said it would. But not fast enough. "Where should we put him?" James asked. "The van is right outside. We'll take him to Morrison's funeral home. I already called ahead. They're expecting us." The van. They were taking him away from the mansion. Away from Jessica. Away from the evidence. Nathaniel tried to take a deep breath, but the plastic pressed against his face. There wasn't much air in this bag. How long could he survive like this? He felt himself being lifted higher. Then a horrible sensation. Falling. He landed hard on something metal. The van floor. A door slammed shut. The engine started. They were driving. Nathaniel's mind raced. He had to get out of this bag. But if he got out now, Daniel and James would know he was alive. They would kill him for real this time. No tricks. No second chances. But if he didn't get out, he would suffocate. His lungs were already burning. The air in the bag was getting thin. Hot. He could feel sweat dripping down his face. His fingers. He could move them better now. He felt around the inside of the bag, searching for the zipper. It had to be on the outside. Body bags always zipped from the outside. He was trapped. "How long until we get there?" James asked from the front of the van. 10 minutes, Daniel replied. "Then we hand him over to Morrison. He'll do the embalming immediately. By tonight, Nathaniel will be properly dead. No chance of anyone discovering the truth." Embalming. They were going to embalm him. Nathaniel's panic turned to pure terror. Embalming meant draining his blood and replacing it with chemicals. He was still alive when that happened. He had to get out. Now. He pushed against the plastic with all his strength. His arms were responding better now. The weakness was fading. But the bag was strong. Industrial strength. His lungs screamed for air. Dark spots danced in his vision. Or maybe that was just the darkness of the bag. He couldn't tell anymore. Then he heard something. A phone ringing. "Answer it," Daniel said. "It might be Morrison." James picked up. "Hello? Yes, this is James." "What? Are you sure?" "Okay, we'll turn around." The van slowed down. Made a U-turn. "What's wrong?" Daniel asked. "That was Miss Stevens. She says we need to come back to the mansion immediately. There's been a development." "What kind of development?" She wouldn't say over the phone. Just said it's urgent. Nathaniel felt the van speed up, heading back the way they came. Back to the mansion. Back to Jessica. Hope flickered in his chest. Maybe Jessica had done something. Maybe she had found a way to stop this. But the air was almost gone. His chest felt like it was being crushed. He tried to breathe, but there was nothing left to breathe. His vision was fading. Not the darkness of the bag. Real unconsciousness. He was suffocating. His last thought before the blackness took him was, "I survived poison only to die in a bag." Jessica paced in her room like a caged animal. She had to do something. Anything. Nathaniel was out there, probably awake by now, trapped with his murderers. Then an idea struck her. She pulled out her phone and called Miss Stevens. "What do you want, Jessica?" the lawyer answered coldly. "I need to speak with Daniel. Right now. It's about Mr. Gray's personal documents. I found something in his study. Something important." There was a pause. "What kind of something?" "I can't tell you over the phone. But if Daniel wants to make sure everything goes smoothly with the will, he needs to see this. Trust me." Another pause. Longer this time. "Fine. I'll call him. Stay in your room." Jessica hung up and waited. 5 minutes. 10 minutes. Then she heard it. The van pulling up outside. Car doors slamming. Footsteps rushing into the mansion. She crept out of her room and hid at the top of the stairs, watching. Daniel and James came through the front door, carrying the body bag between them. They were breathing hard. "Where is she?" Daniel demanded. Miss Stevens pointed upstairs. "Her room. She says she found documents." "What documents?" "I went through everything." "I don't know." But she sounded serious. And if there are documents we don't know about, documents that could challenge the will. Daniel's face went dark. Fine. James, put him in the cold storage room in the basement. We'll finish this later. He turned to Miss Stevens. Get Jessica down here. Now. Jessica didn't wait to be called. She walked down the stairs slowly, trying to look nervous. It wasn't hard. She was terrified. What's this about documents? Daniel asked. In Mr. Gray's study. Behind the bookshelf. There's a hidden compartment. I was cleaning and I accidentally triggered it. There are papers inside. Legal papers. I think they might be important. Daniel's eyes narrowed. Show me. They all walked to the study. Jessica led them to the bookshelf and pressed a small carved rose on the frame. A section of the shelf swung open, revealing a hidden space. It was empty, because there was no hidden compartment. Jessica had just carved out a fake one with a Kit Johnson knife 30 minutes ago while they were gone. There's nothing here, Daniel said, his voice dangerous. But I saw papers. I swear. Maybe someone already took them? Daniel grabbed her arm. Art, you're lying. Why are you lying? I'm not. I saw. Daniel, Miss Stevens interrupted. She was looking at the desk. At the bookshelf where Jessica had hidden the laptop. What's that? Jessica's blood turned to ice. Miss Stevens walked over and pulled out the laptop from under the books. This wasn't here before, Miss Stevens said slowly. I inventoried this room yesterday. Every item. This is new. She opened the laptop. The screen came to life, showing the recording software. Showing the hidden camera feeds. Showing hours and hours of saved video. Daniel's face went white. Then red. Then purple with rage. You, he whispered, staring at Jessica. You've been recording us. Jessica ran. She bolted from the study down the hallway toward the front door. But James was faster. He caught her before she made it 10 steps, grabbing her around the waist and lifting her off the ground. Let me go, she screamed. Let me go. Daniel walked up slowly, carrying the laptop. His hands were shaking. Not with fear. With fury. How long? He demanded. How long have you been recording? I don't know what you're talking about. He slapped her. Art. Jessica's head snapped to the side, pain exploding across her cheek. Don't lie to me. How long? Jessica tasted blood in her mouth. But she smiled anyway. Smiled through the pain. Long enough, she said. I have everything. Every confession. Every plan. Every word you said about murdering Mr. Gray. It's all recorded. And it's all backed up to the cloud. Even if you destroy that laptop, the evidence still exists. Daniel's face went pale. You're bluffing. Am I? Check the laptop. See for yourself. I have video of you talking to Dr. Williams on the phone. I have audio of Miss Stevens admitting she forged the will. I have proof that you've been planning this murder for 2 years. Miss Stevens grabbed the laptop from Daniel and started scrolling through the files. Her face went from confident to horrified in seconds. Daniel, she whispered. She's not bluffing. It's all here. Everything. Then we destroy it. And we destroy her. James pulled out his gun and pressed it against Jessica's head. Wait, Robert said, appearing in the doorway. He must have heard the commotion. If you kill her, it's over. The evidence is backed up. The moment she dies, someone will find it. We'll all go to prison. Then what do you suggest? Daniel snarled. We need to find out who else knows. Who has access to the backup. We need. A sound interrupted him. A loud bang from the basement. Then another. And another. Someone was pounding on something. Art. What is that? Miss Stevens asked. The color drained from Daniel's face. The body. We put the body in cold storage. Another bang. Louder. More desperate. Bodies don't bang on things, Robert said slowly. Bodies don't. He's alive, Jessica said, and she started laughing through her tears. Mr. Gray is alive. And he heard everything. He knows what you did. He knows what you are. The banging got louder. More violent. The sound of someone fighting for their life. Daniel stumbled backward. That's impossible. He was dead. The doctor said. The doctor lied. I lied. We all lied. We faked his death so you would confess. And you did. You confessed everything. James's gun was shaking against Jessica's head. Boss, what do we do? Daniel's mind was racing. Jessica could see it in his eyes. He was trying to find a way out. A way to fix this. But there was no way out. The trap had been sprung. The evidence existed. Nathaniel was alive. We kill them both, Daniel said finally. We kill the girl. We kill my brother. We destroy the laptop and pray the backup doesn't exist. It's the only way. You can't kill us all, Jessica said. The police will. The police will find 2 tragic deaths. A maid who couldn't handle her employer's death and took her own life. And a man who died of a real heart attack this time. We'll make it look perfect. We're good at making things look perfect. The banging from the basement was frantic now. Nathaniel was fighting to get out. Fighting to survive. James, take her to the basement, Daniel ordered. We'll handle this quickly. Miss Stevens, wipe that laptop. Robert, get the van ready. We're going to need to move fast. James dragged Jessica toward the basement door. She fought, kicked, screamed, but he was too strong. As they descended the stairs, she could hear the banging getting louder. Closer. They reached the cold storage room. James threw open the door. And there was Nathaniel. He had broken out of the body bag. His face was covered in sweat, his clothes torn, his hands bloody from pounding on the metal door. But his eyes were fire. Hello, brother, Nathaniel said, his voice ragged but strong. Surprised to see me? Daniel stood at the top of the basement stairs, staring down at his brother. For a moment, nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Then Daniel raised his hand. And it was a gun. Jessica didn't even know he had one. You should have stayed dead, Daniel said. And he pulled the trigger. The gunshot exploded through the basement like thunder. Jessica screamed. Nathaniel stumbled backward. But the bullet didn't hit him. It hit the wall beside his head, sending chunks of concrete flying. Daniel's hand was shaking so badly he had missed. You can't even kill me properly, Nathaniel said, his voice deadly calm. Just like you couldn't run the company properly. Just like you couldn't do anything properly. That's why you always hated me, wasn't it, Daniel? Because I succeeded where you failed. Shut up. Daniel raised the gun again, trying to steady his hand. But before he could fire, James suddenly shoved Jessica aside and tackled Daniel. The 2 men crashed to the floor at the top of the stairs, the gun skittering away across the tiles. What are you doing? Daniel screamed at James. I'm not going to prison for murder. James shouted back. I signed up for fraud, not killing people. Miss Stevens dove for the gun, but Robert got there first. He picked it up and pointed it at everyone. Nobody move. Robert's voice cracked with panic. Nobody moves or I'll shoot. I swear I'll shoot. Nathaniel started climbing the basement stairs slowly. His legs were still weak, but his eyes never left his former business partner. Robert, Nathaniel said softly. You are my friend. We built Gray Enterprises together from nothing. We worked 16-hour days. We celebrated every success. We supported each other through failures. Why? Because I was tired of being second. Robert shouted, tears streaming down his face. Every article, every award, every bit of recognition, it was always Nathaniel Gray and his partner Robert. Always you first. Always you in the spotlight while I did just as much work. Just as much sacrifice. But nobody ever remembered my name. So you tried to kill me? For recognition. For respect. For what I deserved. For. A voice cut through the chaos. Cold. Professional. Authoritative. Everyone freeze. Police. Put the gun down. Jessica's head whipped around. Standing in the doorway of the mansion were 4 police officers, guns drawn. And standing with them, holding a phone that was actively recording everything, was Mrs. Johnson, the cook. Mrs. Johnson. Daniel gasped. But you were part of the plan? No, Mrs. Johnson said, her voice hard. I pretended to be part of your plan. Because Jessica asked me to. She came to me 2 days ago and told me everything. About what she overheard. About what she was planning. And I chose to help her instead of you. Jessica stared at her in shock. But I heard you in the Kit Johnson. You were talking to Thomas about getting paid. We were acting, child. Jessica told me you'd be listening. We made sure you heard exactly what you needed to hear. We made you think everyone in this mansion was a traitor. But some of us still have souls. One of the police officers, a tall woman with sharp eyes, stepped forward. Robert Miller, put the gun down now. Robert's hand was shaking worse than Daniel's had been. You don't understand. We couldn't. We understand perfectly, the officer said. Mrs. Johnson contacted us 3 hours ago. She's been feeding us information all morning. We've been parked outside, listening to everything through the wire she's wearing. We heard every confession. Every plan. Every crime you people committed. Robert's face crumbled. The gun dropped from his hand and clattered to the floor. On your knees, the officer commanded. All of you. Hands behind your heads. Daniel, Robert, James, and Miss Stevens slowly knelt down. The fight had gone out of them. They looked like deflated balloons. More police officers came through the door. They started handcuffing the conspirators one by one. You have the right to remain silent, one officer began. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Jessica felt her legs give out. She collapsed against the wall, her whole body shaking. It was over. It was finally over. Nathaniel climbed the rest of the stairs and walked to her. He knelt down beside her and pulled her into a hug. You saved my life, he whispered. You incredible, brave, brilliant girl. You saved my life. Jessica sobbed into his shoulder. All the fear, all the terror, all the stress of the past hours came pouring out. I was so scared, she cried. I thought they were going to kill you. I thought I made everything worse. I thought. You did everything right. Everything. Nathaniel pulled back and looked at her face. Her cheek was already bruising where Daniel had hit her. He hurt you. I'm okay. I'm okay. Mrs. Johnson walked over to them, tears in her own eyes. Jessica, child. I'm sorry I frightened you. But we had to make sure you didn't accidentally reveal our plan. The fewer people who knew the full truth, the safer we all were. You helped us, Jessica said, still not quite believing it. Why? Because 30 years ago your Mr. Gray's father gave me a job when nobody else would. I was a single mother with no education and no money. He fed my family. Put my children through school. When he died and Nathaniel took over, Nathaniel continued that kindness. He paid for my daughter's college. My son's medical bills. Mrs. Johnson's voice broke. I would die before I let anyone hurt this family. The lead police officer approached Nathaniel. Mr. Gray, I'm Captain Henry. We're going to need your statement. And we'll need that laptop with all the recordings. It's in the study, Nathaniel said. He started to stand, then swayed. The compound, the lack of oxygen in the body bag, the stress, it was all catching up to him. Sir, we need to get you to a hospital, Captain Henry said. You've been through a severe trauma. You need to be checked out. I'm fine. I just need. Sir. The captain's voice was firm but kind. You were poisoned, suffocated, and nearly murdered multiple times in one night. You're going to the hospital. That's not a request. Nathaniel smiled weakly. Yes, ma'am. As the paramedics arrived and started checking Nathaniel's vital signs, Jessica watched the conspirators being led away in handcuffs. Daniel looked at his brother one last time. Nathan, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened to me. I wanted. You wanted what was mine, Nathaniel said coldly. And you were willing to kill for it. I have no brother. Not anymore. Daniel's face crumpled, but the officers pulled him away before he could say anything else. Miss Stevens was silent, her face blank. She was already thinking like a lawyer, probably planning her defense. Robert was crying openly. I'm sorry, Nathan. I'm so sorry. I never meant for it to go this far. I never. You pulled a gun on me, Robert. You were ready to shoot. Don't tell me you never meant for it to go this far. James went quietly, his head down, defeated. One by one they were loaded into police cars and driven away. Captain Henry came back with the laptop. Mr. Gray, this evidence is extraordinary. Between the recordings, Mrs. Johnson's testimony, and the confessions we heard over the wire, we have enough to put all of them away for a very long time. Attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, fraud, forgery, the list goes on. How long? Nathaniel asked. 20 to 30 years. Maybe more. They're done. Nathaniel nodded slowly. He should have felt satisfied. Victorious. But mostly he just felt tired. The paramedics loaded Nathaniel onto a stretcher. Sir, we really need to get you to the hospital now. Your heart rate is irregular and you're showing signs of dehydration. Jessica comes with me, Nathaniel said firmly. Sir, she's not family. She's more family than anyone I've ever known. She comes with me or I don't go. The paramedics looked at each other, then nodded. Fine. Let's go. As they wheeled Nathaniel toward the ambulance, Captain Henry stopped Jessica. Miss? I'm sorry, I don't know your last name. Torres. Jessica Torres. Miss Torres, what you did tonight was incredibly brave. And incredibly dangerous. You could have been killed. I know, Jessica said quietly. But I couldn't let them hurt him. He's a good man. Yes, he is. The world needs more people like both of you. Captain Henry handed her a card. If you ever need anything, you call me. Understand? Anything at all. Jessica took the card with trembling hands. Thank you, In the ambulance, Nathaniel reached out and took Jessica's hand. "What happens now?" she asked. Now we heal. We testify. We make sure justice is served. And then..." Nathaniel paused, his eyes distant. "Then I figure out how to live in a world where I know what people are really capable of. You can't let them break you, sir. You can't let their evil change who you are." Nathaniel looked at her, this young woman who had risked everything to save him. "How are you so wise?" "I'm not wise. I'm just someone who's seen both the worst and the best of people. The trick is remembering that the best exists, even when the worst tries to destroy it." The ambulance pulled away from the mansion. Jessica looked back at the huge house, its windows glowing in the morning light. Just 12 hours ago, she had walked into Nathaniel's study with a desperate plan and a poison that could stop a heart. Now, as the sun rose higher in the sky, the truth was revealed and justice was served. But the story wasn't quite over yet. In the darkest moment, when betrayal seemed certain and death was moments away, two people chose courage over fear. They chose trust over suspicion. They chose hope over despair. And in doing so, they didn't just save one life. They changed hundreds. Sometimes the greatest victories don't come from strength or wealth or power. They come from a young woman with nothing to gain and everything to lose, who knocked on a door at midnight and said 5 words that changed everything. "Sir, pretend you're dead." Those 5 words exposed the darkness. But more importantly, they revealed the light. And in the end, that light was enough. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed creating it. Like, share, subscribe, and comment on the lessons learned. Let me know where you're watching from in the comments below. See you in the next video.